Hey everyone, I'm Floriesha, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the power of believing you are ugly and why you need to stop now. At the beginning of the video I'm going to be talking about my journey with the idea of feeling ugly or why I felt ugly, and then I am going to give you guys some actionable tips, opinions, and thoughts on how you can get outside of the idea and stop believing that you are ugly. This video is part of my series called Lessons in Love, Becoming Whole from Within, where I am taking you guys on my self-love journey, and I am just showing you guys how you can feel complete without a partner, and that the love that you desire is within. And it starts with a second where you decide that you can provide yourself the love that you desire. Now that we got all of that out of the way, let's get into the video. So for quite some time, I really believed that I was ugly, and I used to remind myself of it every day. I started to believe I was ugly a lot when I got into high school because, oh my goodness, I feel just thinking about high school makes me super I don't want to go back to high school. I think that if people were looking from the outside, just seeing me and how I operated in high school, they would think that I was fine, when in reality I really was not. And I would not want to repeat high school. I never want to go back, but I don't regret what happened. I was my biggest hater. I was my biggest critic, and it was very apparent in the ways in which I spoke to myself. The way how I spoke to myself was just very bad. It was all negative. It was all demeaning. It was all criticizing me. I criticized, or that inner voice criticized every aspect of my being, whether that was my grades, my looks, my friends, my non-existent romantic life. It criticized everything. And I used to justify that me being ugly was the reason why bad things happened to me, why I was having issues making friends, why I just didn't have a boyfriend, or why I wasn't approached in the ways in which these other girls were. And that's the thing, in my high school, it was very apparent which girls received attention. And no shade, no tea to those girls, I have nothing against them, but there were certain girls in my high school that received, basically it was only male validation. It was male validation, it was male attention. In my high school years, I know this sounds really pathetic, but that was one of the main things that really mattered to me the most. All I wanted to feel was love, and all I wanted to receive was love and attention and affection, especially from a teenage boy at that time. So because I wasn't one of those girls receiving that attention, I really thought that something was wrong with me. I was ugly, I wasn't enough, I didn't fit the mold. And that really hurt my ego, it hurt my pride, and it really hurt my confidence. So what made me feel ugly was mostly my physical appearance. Around the time that I got to high school, I was very much I've been curvy my entire life. And I felt even when I was a young girl, I felt my family could perpetuate certain things around my weight. The bigger I was, they're oh, the more voluptuous you are, the more curvy and thick you are. And also because I grew up in an environment where a lot of the boys in my community was oh, I want a girl that's bad and thick, and it was very much a lot of weight and value and significance was placed on my body type as being a thick girl with a big, okay, fill in the blank. Even though I was a curvy girl and I ticked off those characteristics, I was still slightly overweight. Whether you are curvy, and when I say fat, I mean fat good. I'm not talking about fat in the ways in which society has set it. I'm talking about fat. Being fat is something wrong. Being skinny, there's nothing wrong. There's no negative connotations when I mention either one. I just want to make sure, and I say that because I think that it could be very a sensitive topic. But what I want to say is that I let others determine my weight. I never cared about how much I weighed because I always used other people's validation, compliments, and praise to determine whether I was attractive or not. So until I got to college, that's when I realized I actually don't like the weight that I've been and that I was, and I only stayed that way, and I never changed. I never found a problem with it because people will always be oh, you're thick, your butt is big, da 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 da. So I was okay, I'm getting all this attention, why would I want to change that? There was never a motive, there was never an internal motive that came from me for me to change my weight. But when it came to other people complimenting me and telling me that I looked good, and because I put so much emphasis on external validation, I was like, why would I want to change my weight? Another thing that made me feel ugly was makeup. I was not a girl that did makeup, and I feel like a lot of the girls in my high school did makeup. Maybe it wasn't like a full face, but like they definitely did makeup and they definitely looked good, you know? And I was a person who really, even to this day, I don't think that makeup looks good on me. Like, obviously I have blush on and I have mascara on and I have lip gloss on, but when it comes to doing like a full face, I still feel insecure about like wearing makeup to this day, because I think I haven't found a routine that suits the aesthetic or like vibe that I'm going for. I just wanted to be a baddie, and like, you could be a baddie and not wear makeup. You could be a baddie and like do certain things that are not what society has normalized baddies to be, okay? I also started to hate the way I looked in photos. I just despised it. Like, my skin was very uneven. I had a lot of hyperpigmentation. I don't know, every time there was a photo, I tend to like hide myself. And mostly when I took photos, it was mostly of my body, because again, that was where I received most attention and praise for. So that was the only part of my body that I wanted to show. But like, when it came to feeling confident in my physical appearance, well, mostly my face, that was something that it took me a while to like gain a lot of confidence there. And I never had any romantic relationships, like, you know, hence the video why I've never had a boyfriend. Being a teenager and not having a boo thing like really got to her pride and like her confidence. Like, I was like, oh my god, I'm not lovable, I'm not like desirable, and nobody wants me because I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm that. The only reason why I wanted to go out with someone like in high school is because I just wanted to feel like normal. Like, I wanted to feel love, and like my teenager self deserved to feel loved, but it's just like there are other ways to get that, and like obviously it all starts within, whatever. But like, I was seeking out love out of lack. I was seeking love out of desperation, and that is something that like she didn't deserve. And like, obviously I know better and I'm here for her now, but yeah, those are the reasons why I felt ugly. So now I'm gonna talk about how like me feeling ugly led me to chase validation. Like, validation was my addiction. Like, it was my invisible drug. So because I didn't believe in my own worth and my own beauty, I relied heavily on others to just remind me or to make me feel like I was beautiful. So I put my worth and value on my grades, on compliments, on praise, on male validation, on male attention. I didn't care how I looked as long as others thought I was attractive. I let their very much subjective, fleeting, and ever-changing opinions determine my worth, and I tied so much value like on how they perceived my body and my physical appearance. So this mindset really shaped my behavior and impacted the ways in which I showed up in real life. I was afraid to be seen, hence hating photos and hating cameras. I people pleased, overcompensated, begged, chased. Literally, I just lacked a lot of self-respect because I didn't know my own worth and my own value. I constantly tried to earn love and attention instead of just being. So every day I spent most of my life waiting and hoping that someone will tell me that I'm enough. And that someone's usually like someone that I like really like. I think someone that I would be surprised would be interested in me. Like someone that I pedestalized, or someone that I thought was too good. Like I was too good. No. They were too good for me to be with them, which is crazy. It's never the case now. That's never the case now. But even if someone did tell me that I am beautiful, it was never enough because I didn't believe it. And so I constantly chased it. And you're just like in this loop of just like constantly chasing and chasing and chasing, because no matter how many people tell you that you are enough or that you are beautiful, you will never believe them until you believe it yourself. Okay, so now I feel beautiful. I know I am beautiful. I know I've always been beautiful, but let's talk about how I got here. If I'm being honest, y'all, I got over the idea of calling myself ugly. I got over the feeling of feeling ugly. I got over the, I guess just like the victim mindset that I was in. I was so over hiding myself. I was so over chasing, of acting out of desperation. I was just so over being in a low vibrational state of feeling ugly. It just like really weighs down your mood and your energy, and you're like not present because you're so occupied about your physical appearance and how you're being perceived by others, or how people view you, or whether you're making someone liking you. Like, are you performing enough? You know, like, it is exhausting. And I was just like, I'm so over feeling ugly. I have to do something about it. Like, I got so over it. I got over myself. I got over the victim mentality mindset. I was like, no, something needs to change. Even if I don't know how, even if it starts with lying to myself, something needs to change, because I cannot go like this throughout my entire life believing that I'm ugly. Like, there was one thing I told myself one day. I was like, imagine if you stop yourself from making friends, if you just like miss out of life because you've convinced yourself that you're ugly, and you told yourself every day that you were ugly. Like, that did not sit right in my soul. I was like, I cannot be like this my entire life. So what really helped me was when I started to talk to myself like how I would talk to my best friends. And one thing about me is that, and maybe you guys can relate, I'm a person, I can pour into someone. I can be that hype friend. I could be like, you got this, follow your dreams, that boy ain't ish, like, you know, stay in your books, get your bag, da 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 da. Like, I can do that. But when it came to myself, non-existent. And I was like, no, that needs to stop today. So every time I started to talk like negative to myself, I was like, would you say that to your best friend? If your best friend was like, oh my God, I feel ugly, or like these clothes don't fit me the way like I want them to, or like I don't want to go out because I don't feel my best, I would do whatever I can to switch around her energy. So why can't I do that to myself? Why can't I be my own best friend? That helped me a lot. And one thing I realized was that when you feel ugly and when you're like working your way to unraveling that lie, to making that lie a lie, or to making that truth you told yourself a lie, it may start off with you lying to yourself that you're pretty. And I was like, you know what? Because I have taught myself that I'm ugly is a lie, I'm going to lie myself back into my truth that I am pretty. Hopefully that makes sense. You have convinced yourself that you are ugly. Society has conditioned for you to believe that you are ugly, and then you ultimately accepted that idea. Because when we were kids, when we were born, when we were running around on the monkey, the jungle monkey, whatever, you guys know what I'm talking about. We did not think that we were ugly until we grew up, until we went to middle school or high school or like something happened for us to believe that we were ugly, or we consumed stuff, or we're in some sort of like community or society, or one boy said something, or a girl said something, or one of our family or friends said something, right? So we need to get rid of that lie. But I know that when you're telling yourself that you are beautiful and you're pretty, literally it took me so much to tell myself that I am pretty. Like, I would sit there and I would stare at myself, or I'll stare at myself in the camera for like, I kid you not, maybe like a minute, forcing myself for the words to come out. And literally I have it on video. I think I have been like capturing my like journey ever since college. That's when I decided to like take matters into my own hand and really start my self-love journey. But I remember like looking at myself and just being like, say it and mean it, say it and believe it, say it. And it took a lot for me to say it. Though I didn't like believe it, I just kept saying it. I was like, it doesn't matter. That's what you're gonna have to do, even if it feels weird, even if you feel like you're lying to yourself, do it anyways. Because the lie is that you're ugly. So lie yourself back into your truth that you are beautiful. The other thing I started to do was decenter society's view on beauty. I started to decenter people's ideas, opinions, views, perspective on what beauty is, or what a pretty girl looks like, or what a baddie looks like. Like what I said, I'm a baddie because I say I'm a baddie. I'm also a cute baddie. I'm also a soft baddie. Like, I am whatever I say I am, not what you think I am, okay? Period. I started asking myself I statements. What do I like? What do I like to wear? What do I like? How do I like to smell? How do I like to feel when I wear clothes? What does beauty look like to me? Instead of what makeup would make me look like a baddie, or like what makeup would make him like me or her like me. Like, who cares what these people think? These folks, you have to decenter people's opinions and start centering your own, because what really matters is your own opinion, not anybody else's opinion. And so I started to find ways to like ease my insecurities. Like, once I started asking myself these questions in these I statements, I started to find ways to beautify myself, to make me feel beautiful on my own terms, not by fixing myself, because there's nothing to be fixed. I started to make actions, or I started to make changes that made me feel good in my skin and in my body, that made me feel empowered on my own terms, on my own conditions, and not based off of anybody's fleeting opinions or beliefs on what I should look like. And then I also wrote a beauty manifesto, or I wrote a whole journal, I journaled about redefining beauty in my own terms to include the ways in which I look. Like, I wrote that like I am the embodiment of beauty, that my acne scars, my hyperpigmentation, my stretch marks, my stomach, my thick thighs, my dimples, like, y'all, I went into everything. I'm like, the moles on my face, my like big eyes, my lips, all of that is beauty because I said so. I don't need the validation of society or from anybody else to tell me that I am beautiful. I am writing it down, and I've made the declaration that I am the embodiment of beauty. And you have to stand 10 toes down on that idea because no one else will do it for you. But I also want to say that your physical appearance does not determine your worth or your value. Even on my off days, and I've been having them a lot recently, I don't know why, I just feel like I'm in a very sensitive state and I'm trying to be very compassionate and gentle with myself. But even on my off days, I am still that girl. I am that baddie. I am still cute. I am still soft. Like, your value should not be tied to your physical appearance. Your value should be tied to you as an individual, to who you are, like at the core, like internally, instead of placing your value on your physical appearance, because you're gonna have some days when you don't feel good, like when you don't feel beautiful, when you don't feel confident. And I feel like that's very human. And like, there's even celebrities that talk about how they still have days where they don't feel good. And like, the celebrity that comes to mind is Rihanna, and she was like, just fake it so you make it. People don't have to know, but like, you can walk around and still feel insecure, but still embody confidence, or still go outside and still allow yourself to be seen because you deserve to be seen, even when you're not at your best, because you know that your value is not tied to your physical appearance. Tie your value to who you are, to your character, to how you view life, to how you show up for your friends and family, to your passions and what makes you light up. Not your physical appearance, because again, like, we're gonna grow old and things are gonna change, but also like, even in like right now, you're still gonna have days where you don't feel your best, and that is okay. But I also want to quickly say that beauty is subjective, and one thing is that society has developed a system and a whole industry on creating insecurities for people and gaining money off of it. But if you put your value, your worth in the hands of society, you're never going to feel beautiful. Society one day will tell you that freckles is no longer cute. Society the next day will tell you that short hair is no longer cute. Society the next day will tell you that being skinny is no longer cute and you need a BBL, and no shade or tea to the folks that get BBLs. Society the next day will tell you that BBLs are out. That's how quick the definitions of what is beautiful and what is not beautiful can change. And what I realize is that with society, you need to determine what is beautiful, and people will take your lead. Once you decide that your stretch marks are beautiful, people will be like, oh my God, I love the way she walks, like with so much confidence, like, and her stretch marks are showing, like, wow, like I wish I could be like her. I think society has definitely, I don't know, desensitized or like denormalized, I don't know what the word is, y'all, but like human body, like natural bodies, to the point like we don't even know what a natural body looks like, because all that we've seen is like edited and refined bodies, or like manufactured bodies. Again, no shade to plastic surgery. You do what you want to do. That's totally fine. That is your choice. That's your body. But all I'm saying is that we've lost touch of what a natural body looks like. We don't even know what it looks like. So when we see a natural body, we're like, ew. It's not fair. It's not fair. There's nothing wrong with plastic surgery, and there's nothing wrong with having a natural body. And now I'm going to talk about how to have pretty privilege and how to feel pretty. The thing that no one really tells you about pretty privilege is that you don't need to look different You just need to feel different about yourself. I believe that pretty energy activates pretty privilege. The people who have pretty energy are people who are confident in themselves, who are not afraid to be seen, to be perceived, to be judged, who are able to take up space, and who are just very confident in their body and who they are, and they know that they are attractive. They know that they deserve to be seen. They know that they are deserving to be adored and admired by others. People with pretty energy just stand in the knowing that they are worthy. And so people who value themselves and respect themselves become magnetizing, and their energy is gravitating because it all stems and it's all fueled by them, internally. It's not, dependent on people's perceptions or ideas or opinions or validation. It's internal. And when it's internal, it's empowering and it's powerful, and it's something that people gravitate to. So what I'm trying to say, it's not so much of their physical appearance, but it's about their energy and how they carry themselves. Honestly, I feel like there are a lot of attractive people like yourself out here walking around like they're unattractive, and because you believe that you're unattractive, it's not really magnetizing, and people are not going to gravitate to that, especially because you shrink yourself and you're afraid to be seen, you're afraid to be perceived, and so you're just comfortable being small. Right? And when you believe that you are beautiful and you walk around in confidence and you walk around in this embodiment of inherent worth, and that you are that girl, the world responds to you. And I think that's what I've been saying this entire video, is that the ways in which you feel about yourself, that is just projected and the world responds. The world follows your lead and not the other way around. Even though it makes it seem like it, society makes it seem like you need to be at the will of others and at the will of society. No, society and people are at the will of you. Therefore, people with pretty energy receive pretty privilege or have pretty privilege because they have that embodied confidence. They walk in that confidence. They know that they are worthy of people holding the door for them. They know that they are worthy of people buying them a drink or getting them coffee or dinner. They're worthy of experiences that match their worth, that match their self-respect, that match their self-value. So that's what they receive. And what I'm here to tell you is that you don't need to wait on the world to tell you that you are worthy. There's no criteria or mold or picture or whatever that's in your mind that you need to fit in order to be worthy of pretty privilege or of having pretty energy or of just being worthy of receiving. And even though you don't know me or you've watched a couple of my videos, I'm here to tell you, even though it's external, someone telling you that you are worthy, I'm telling you that you are worthy. I'm telling you to give yourself the permission to be worthy, because I have decided to give myself permission to be worthy. And I'm hoping that my voice and my story ignites that ability for you to take that moment, reclaim power over your life, and decide that you are worthy. So the lesson I love in this video is that this version, whether it's the version that you're satisfied with or the version that you're not satisfied with, is worthy. Is worthy of taking up space, is worthy of being seen, is worthy of being loved, is worthy of pretty privilege, is worthy. Waiting until you're perfect or waiting until you have the right body, the perfect skin, the right hair, or whatever is just stalling your ability to experience life, to experience happiness. You're telling yourself that you're not worthy of experiencing life because you don't fit the mold that you have created in your head or that society has created. And that's not fair to this version of yourself or the version that you're not completely satisfied with. You are worthy because you exist. There's nothing that you need to do, look, be, achieve to be worthy. Hopefully you guys are getting the lesson in love for today's video. And all I have to say is that unbelieving that lie that you are ugly will not take overnight. It will not be like a day and night transformation. It will take time, and even on days where it feels hard, remind yourself to be graceful with yourself or to yourself. Be graceful with yourself. Have compassion, have empathy, because it takes a lot of lying and like not believing it until one day you look in the mirror and you're like, wait, I really love what I see back. And it's like such a beautiful homecoming. It's such a beautiful reclamation of, I don't know, just like seeing yourself for the first time, or like allowing yourself to see yourself and appreciate your beauty and appreciate what's in front of you. And I know how hard it is, because again, I've been there. It's really hard, it's really tough, but you will get there someday. But that's it for this video, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it to this point in the video, you might as well subscribe, buddy. Like, you might as well. You're here, and there's other videos that you can watch as well. Bye.